Hi guys, Mark Williamson, the Golf Yogi here for GolfersRx. I wanted to do a follow-up video on a video that we ran just a week or two ago. I was sitting outside in a chair. We were doing a bunch of stretches on how to stretch when you're seated. Some things that you can do while you're sitting on the couch, while you're sitting in your favorite recliner watching golf in the cold winter months. And we got some emails about that. We had some questions from people. One, we had a few questions about people with artificial hips. Two, we had a few people just say, look, I'm too tight to even try that. So this video is kind of a follow-up to help out those of you who might have artificial hips, might have really, really tight hips that you're just having a hard time getting into. We're going to give you a few things that really help you out. The first thing, anybody with artificial hips, as you know from going through physical therapy after you had surgery, the biggest thing that you want to be careful of going forward after a hip replacement is crossing the knee over that center line. That's the biggest no-no that any doctor doing a hip replacement will tell you. So anything laying on the ground, maybe twisting and kind of pulling it over there, that's not something we want to do. That can get that hip to come out of socket there. So, and that's, from what I understand, the longer you are post-op, the less chance of there is of that happening, but no reason to mess with it at all. So a couple of things that you can do. We're going to pretend my trusty little box here for box jumps is a chair. And sitting at home, you can start to lean, almost one leg straight and cross a foot up and just start to kind of walk it up. Maybe you can get it on top of the knee and get it a little bit closer. It doesn't need to be all the way up here with the knee totally open, okay? It might even be just below the knee. And then what you're trying to do is still open this knee, open that hip up just a little bit. Now, is it going to get into the hip a lot deeper the higher we go? Absolutely. The only thing that you want to be cautious of here is not to feel this in your knee. If you've got some wrenching in your knee, you get a little pain in your knee, then maybe this one isn't the best one for you to try. But we have others. So another really good stretch, if you have a chair, if you have something, I'm actually going to turn the side so you can see this a little bit more, is just grabbing onto something, taking these feet out a little bit wide, kind of like we've shown before, stretching all the way down here. If you want to hold on to something at this height, if you want to hold on to something, maybe you've got a golfer's toolbox at the house holding here, you can start to just do squats, just to open up the knees a little bit, start to work down. Now, still get movement going with these. It doesn't, we don't have to be all the way to the ground to get this little twist and move in here. So just moving a little bit back and forth. Again, maybe you've got a chair at the house, you just want to grab that, start to lean back, almost kind of like you're sitting down, but you have to go really slowly, start to move into that a little bit. A couple of good ones that you can do once you get onto the ground. So seated, this is one of my absolute favorites because we have a lot of options with this. For some people right here, that might be enough. Maybe if you start to lean a little bit taller, if you get into this and your knees are up here, you're really, really tight into those hips, maybe you start to walk the hands in a little bit closer. I'll turn to the side so you can see this. A lot of people here might be okay. The closer we get up here, now sitting up tall, getting that flat back, going to be a little tougher to open those hips. Maybe you can start to sit a little bit higher with this and just start to rock into the hips. Like my daughter says, flap the butterfly wings. Just start to bounce those knees a little bit, get some movement going into the hips. And if it feels okay to you, you can lean up against your chair, lean up against your couch, maybe just watching TV here, and just try to sit, prop yourself up, and just let those knees fall. If you do that for a few minutes, and don't sit like that all night, but try it for a few minutes and see if after a couple of minutes, the knees don't start to automatically open. And we talk about this a lot. A lot of times our body, when we're very tight somewhere, is almost fighting against us when we're trying to open it up. So it's really true, especially with wide-legged things. If you sit here for a couple minutes, you can feel right into your quads are tight, even though you're not stretching your quads here. After a couple minutes, the body relaxes, you start to sink into it. So same thing here. It doesn't matter how close you can pull the heels into the groin. Get to somewhere that's comfortable. Maybe it's out a little bit. Maybe it's in a little further. Just sit, relax, let those knees start to fall open. And again, anytime you want to put a little movement into it, that's great. That's just helping right into that ball and socket, getting a little bit more range of motion. So hopefully some of these will help you out. Any of you that have artificial hips, any of you that have very, very tight hips, give them a try. Hopefully start to get some mobility in there. And go really slowly with this. Don't look for huge, huge progressions. Opening hips takes a long, long time. So when you're looking to see kind of where you're getting better, it should be something that you start to notice a little bit of a difference, Like I say all the time, a whole lot of little bottles make a big bottle. So The more little things that we can do to open those hips, the more we can start to get a little bit of motion going through there, the better we're going to be. It's definitely going to help our golf swing.